What up, YouTubers? This is Devontae here, and I'm doing another reaction video today. Today I'm doing Saw 3 kill count from Dead Meat, and one person from my comment section comment to me to this. If y'all want me to react to the video, make sure y'all link in the description. And let's get into the video.
Movie footage used in the kill count is owned entirely by the copyright holders. Dead Meat makes no claim of ownership and simply uses the footage for purposes of education, commentary, and criticism under fair use. Please support filmmakers and the art of filmmaking by watching Saw 3 in its entirety on home media or streaming services where available. Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Saw 3, released in 2006, and the last Saw movie to be written by Leigh Whannell. The third Saw continues the ever more complicated storyline, bringing back characters we know and introducing plenty we don't, and sticking most of them in traps that continue to get more graphic. But for this script, Whannell wanted to hit more emotional beats as well, so there's a lot of focus on the fraught relationship between Jigsaw and his traptress in training, Amanda Young. One thing Saw 3 does succeed in is being the longest of the series. This thing is nearly 2 hours long. Does it justify that lengthy runtime with a whole bunch of kills? Let's find out and get to them.
Let's get to the kills.
The movie begins right where we left off, with Eric Matthews stuck in the shit room. He finds the hacksaw and evidence of what he's supposed to do with it, but when push comes to Saw, he just can't bring himself to do a full Elwes. Instead, he grabs the Zep head toilet tank lid and chooses to Hulk smash instead of Gordon cut, beating the shit out of his own foot with many squishy sound effects until he's able to give it a nasty crack and slide straight on out of the chain. Congrats, Matthews, you just earned yourself a title card. But this movie isn't about Eric Matthews, so let's move on to these other cops who are cutting their way into a room. Wait, I know that lead cop. It's Daniel Rigg, the hot-headed dude from Saw 2. But this movie isn't really about him either.
Someone call Carrie.
Carrie! Hell yeah, she's been here since the OG Saw. This movie must be about her then. She's worried about Matthews, who's been missing for 6 months now, and is terrified that they just found him in pieces all over this crime scene. But those body chunks aren't Donnie Dubs. Instead, they belong to this dude Troy, who, as we see in a flashback, found himself hooked up to a bunch of chains in the middle of the classroom. Welcome to Hellraiser 101, Troy. They must have a sub today because there's a TV teaching the lesson. On the screen is Professor Puppet, Billy to his friends.
I want to play a game.
Of course you do, Billy. Billy says Troy squandered some privileges he had since birth and now seems to be most comfortable in chains since he's a repeat offender of some sort. Hence this whole situation, because you know Jigsaw loves to personalize his traps. For Troy to survive, he's got to break those chains before this little bear bomb goes off. Not exactly an easy task, and if that lip ring kill in Bride of Chucky bothered you, you might want to look away. Troy does his best, ripping out chains attached to his hands, his shoulders, his sides. They're all coming out, but the whole time we're sitting there wondering about the elephant chain in the room, the massive one through his jaw. I don't think you'd be able to survive ripping that out, but we never get to find out. The timer reaches 0, and we cut back to the aftermath of Troy Boy in pieces all over the floor. Inspecting this case with Rigg and Carrie is Detective Mark Hoffman. Fun fact, he's named after producer Greg Hoffman, who helped develop the series from the start, but sadly died right after Saw 2 came out. In a very kind gesture, Greg Hoffman was posthumously credited as a producer on all of the rest of the Saw films, and I think that's really sweet. But this Hoffman, Mark, is only in this one scene in this movie, and he doesn't really make too much of an impression. Man, wouldn't it be so funny if he ended up becoming like the main character later on? Carrie figures out that this Troy trap may not have been Jigsaw. After all, they had to cut the door down to get into the room. Even if Troy had dejawed himself, he wouldn't have been able to get out with the door welded shut. And it doesn't fit the Jigsaw MO. That night, she's going over the Billy tape and doing some light bedtime casework when her TV switches to a different static image. And now, don't be too alarmed, Carrie, but it looks like it's a live feed of you in this very moment. She acts quick and fires her gun towards the feed since Allison Carey is a total badass. But when she's fishing the camera out of the closet, she doesn't hear a little oink oink coming behind her. Pighead drives Carrie to Trap Town, where she wakes up in a contraption that once again involves a bunch of chains. Saw 3 is getting pretty Cenobite on us here, man. Billy pops up on screen and says hi.
I want to play a game.
He criticizes her for being too good at her job? What? I don't know, it sounds like bullshit, but maybe I missed something being too focused on just how ripped Dina Meyer is. Get it, girl? Her trap involves these clamps hooked into her rib cage, and she has a minute to unlock it and escape. Only problem is, the key is chilling in a vat of acid, which Billy says is gonna hurt, and also dissolve dissolve that key pretty soon. Carrie goes for it, and although her first attempt fails, she grins and bears it and dissolves a hearty amount of hand skin to fish the key out of the acid. Like the true badass she is, she succeeds and unlocks the padlock to the device. But wait, why is it not opening? It's not opening! Carrie, ask this person for help. She gets no help from the person, who is obviously Amanda, and instead gets her ribs torn apart and her insides exposed in a very gnarly and memorable trap. It introduces an important plot point for this movie, that of the inescapable trap, but I'm still sad to see Carrie go, because like, who the hell is this movie about then? I guess this random chick Lynn, who we meet in the middle of a lover's quarrel that reaches its climax right as she's on her way out the door.
What is it you want from me, Chris?
A divorce.
She doesn't have an answer for that, and instead leaves to go to the hospital where she works. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Saw 3 is kind of a medical drama. If it wasn't for all the gory deaths, it could be something you watched on CBS. Especially the scene where our doctagonist gets a prep talk from her co-worker about how she's supposed to be the best, but she's been slipping lately. Luckily, things take a turn for the Saw pretty quickly when Lynn gets abducted by Pighead and jump cuts. She wakes up in a room full of Saw trap materials. Our Jigsaw apprentice Amanda greets her with a knife and wheels Lynn into another room where we find the man himself, John Kramer, looking pretty, well, not great. Amanda gives Lynn his medical file, and she recognizes his name and the fact that Lawrence Gordon was his doctor.
I was his patient and he was mine.
Float out your ass, dude. Lynn says the tumor he has is bad news bears, and he whines about her lack of bedside manner and use of medical jargon. His criticisms of these people are getting outright ridiculous.
You're the type of person who swallows antidepressants to hide the pain.
Oh no, she takes SSRIs. Better stick a fucking bear trap on her head. Nah, she doesn't get the bear trap. Jigsaw's game for her involves this collar that Amanda fixes around Lynn's neck. Jigsaw explains.
The device that you're wearing is linked to my heart rate monitor. The second that heart rate monitor flatlines, or you move out of range, an explosion will go off in that collar.
So their lives are linked. Better get doctoring, Lynn. As Amanda explains, Lynn has to keep John alive for as long as it takes another test subject to complete his tasks. The other test subject is this dude who wakes up inside a crate suspended in the air. This is Jeff, one of the most frustrating characters in all of these movies. I want to root for you, Jeff, but you make it so hard. He finds a tape player that says he's consumed with anger and vengeance against the drunk driver who killed his son, and the court system that let him walk free. Jeff's about to go through a series of tests that he'll have to win through the power of forgiveness, but he's got to do it in 2 hours or else he'll be locked in this place forever and die. Jeff crashes out of the crate, and the fall gives him a little flashback to when he was playing Dirty Harry in the mirror, imagining a confrontation with the man who ran down his son Dylan. His anger over the loss caused him to be a drunk dad and neglectful to his still living child, daughter Corbett. That kind of piss poor parenting gets him a visit from old Pighead, who is hiding in his bedroom to dad nap him. Amanda watches present-day Jeff on a monitor and reports back to Jigsaw that the test has begun.
He's out of the box.
Lynn tells Amanda that John is in real bad shape and needs to get to a hospital. But Amanda don't take too kindly to that suggestion and says it ain't gonna happen, Lynn. Get saving or get dying. Amanda is so freaking aggro that even sociopathic John Kramer tells her to chill the fuck out and let the doctor do her thing. Yeah, cause her job's already hard enough, Mandy. John's not only puking up bile, he's also got blood coming out his mouth, getting his oxygen mask all gross. Lynn's able to stabilize him, but says he needs to have an operation. Is it water on the knee? No, it's a brain tumor. Amanda says she'll hook Lynn up with whatever she needs to do the operation there, because again, that trip to the hospital just ain't gonna happen. Quit asking, Lynn. Back to Jeff, who's exploring his plastic shrouded surroundings when he finds a door saying face your fears. He walks through it into a freezer and finds a very blue, very naked lady handcuffed in place. Fun fact, this is the only occurrence of female nudity in the Saw franchise. She wakes up and complains about the cold, and Jeff finds a tape that tells him this chick Danica is chained in place to prevent her from running, like she did the day Dylan died. She was the only witness to the accident, and she drove off and refused to testify, hurting the case against the driver. If Jeff wants to save Danica's life, he'll have to fetch a key hung up behind some frozen pipes, and he'd better do it quick too, because Danica's getting intermittently sprayed down with water that instantly freezes to her body. Unfortunately, quick is not even close to being in Jeff's vocabulary, and he stands there complaining as Danica's situation gets more and more dire. Eventually, her pleading works, and Jeff goes for the key, getting his face a Christmas story to the pipes in the process. He powers through and gets a chunk of cheek meat torn off, but it's too late, you slow motherfucker. Danica's frozen solid by the time he gets back to her, having been sprayed by so much water that she's become nothing more than a bystander sickle. After Amanda gets Lynn everything she needs for the operation, we're shown the beginning of Amanda and John's relationship in a flashback to a time when Billy was a brand new puppet. In fact, his paint was still drying as John sets up Amanda's trap. The Saw movies do this a lot. They take scenes from earlier movies and show us the setup behind them. Sometimes it's elucidating, other times it's totally unnecessary. Like, we don't need to see Jigsaw painting a question mark on that dude's chest. But it always does feel kind of cool to get a clearer picture of the stuff stuff we've seen happen. After Amanda escaped her trap, John was already waiting for her at home and told her, hey, you've got big things coming up, little lady. Jeff walks down a spooky hallway to find Billy the puppet doing a very tasteless reenactment of the accident that killed Jeff's son. He picks up the puppet to get a better look, but after Billy starts laughing, Jeff he walks through a door that says, time to let go, and inside the room and up some stairs, he finds a guy chained around his neck to the floor of this big metal vat. The tape that Jeff plays tells the audience that this is the judge who presided over Dylan's case and let the manslaughterer go with a light sentence. The key to let Judge Halden free is in a little booth full of Dylan's old possessions that Jeff has refused to let go of. His only way to retrieve the key is to incinerate them all with a switch. And why is it so important to get that judge out of there? Well, because there's a parade of rotting pig corpses coming out and getting ground into rancid mush, which slowly but surely begin to fill the vat that the judge is trapped inside. Okay, Jeff, I know you must have learned your lesson from Danica, so you're gonna go get that key, right? Oh, no? You're just gonna stand there and bitch to the judge about the case? Jesus Christ, Jeff, get it the fuck together, man. Thankfully, the judge is a skilled debater and says all the right things, including how he has a son of his own. So Jeff takes his plodding ass down the stairs, seriously dude, move fucking faster, and goes to the booth with all of Dylan's toys inside. After taking even longer because he's slow ass motherfucking Jeff, he finally hits the switch to burn up all the toys, giving us that unrated ending to Toy Story 3 that, admit it, you were kind of interested in seeing. The key falls and Jeff grabs it, and thankfully the judge still has all his breathing parts above the pig mush line, so Jeff is able to free him and pull him to safety. Good job, Jeff. It's operation time, since John's brain is pushing up against the skull.
I gotta end it right there. This video is quite long, and I am going to finish the rest of the half in the next video. And this Saw movie is pretty interesting. Like, let me know how good the Saw movies, because I've never seen it. And make sure you rate, comment, subscribe. Bye.